Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to do a full face of my least expensive makeup. So I did another version of this with my most expensive makeup, and now we're gonna do a version with my least expensive makeup. So this is all drugstore. Most of these are under $10. There are a couple that are over, and we will get into that and why. With that being said, let's just hop into it. The first thing I'm gonna go in with is actually the e.l.f. Power Grip Primer. This has 4% niacinamide, and honestly, I haven't used this like a ton. I don't wear primers super often, and when I do, I don't usually reach for like this sticky primer. So honestly, I don't know my full thoughts on this, but I have it as a affordable primer option. I feel like this is a good one. I know it's like a cult favorite, and I do think it's like nice. It's just not something that I reach for a ton, but hopefully this will help with longevity. With the tackiness, I feel like it will make my makeup stay on for a lot longer. The only product I have that is over $10 is actually the foundation. So this is from L'Oreal. This is the True Match Nude Hyaluronic Tinted Serum. I have mine in the shade 4 to 5 medium, and this is one of the most expensive drugstore products that I have. I think it's really pretty, and I do like the product itself, but this is the cheapest drugstore foundation that I have in my collection, and I still think that is quite pricey. I am gonna take this brush to blend it in. I think this is really pretty. It is really glowy. It has this like really pretty pearl to it, so I think this will look really pretty. I think the shade match is also pretty good for my skin right now. It blends out really easily. I actually really like this foundation, but $20 for a drugstore foundation seems like a ton. And I don't have a ton of drugstore products in my collection anyway, but when I do, I don't expect it to be $20 whole. But this does look really pretty. Like, do you see it just blended in so easily? You can't even really tell that I'm wearing any makeup. It looks so pretty and glowy and like natural. It's not picking up on any dry patches. Because it is a little bit more glowier, I do feel like it's emphasizing pores just a little bit. The next thing that I'm gonna go in with is concealer, and the least expensive concealer I have in my collection is this from Catrice. This is the True Skin High Cover Concealer. This is actually such a good concealer. Catrice did send this to me. I have mine in the shade N32 Neutral Biscuit. I feel like my under eyes could use a lot of help right now. And then just covering up some acne scars. This is actually much lighter than I am right now, which I wasn't really paying attention to when I was applying this to the acne, but I think this is still a really good concealer. It does have a lot of good coverage, but it doesn't look super cakey. I feel like it blends in seamlessly as well. And then just whatever is left on the brush, pat over. Like, I feel like that just blanked it out so nicely. The next product I am gonna go in with is this from Makeup Revolution. This is the Ultra Cream Bronzer in the shade Medium. I am just gonna go in with the same brush that I was using for foundation and concealer. That was a bit much. Oopsies. Just going to do my forehead, tap this out. I forgot how pigmented this was. But even blending it out, I still feel like this looks really good. Like, it doesn't look too bronzery, and I like this tone a lot. It's not too warm, which I find that a lot of cream bronzers are. This is a good neutral tone for me. For blush, the cheapest blush option that I have is this from e.l.f. This is the Camo Liquid Blush. Honestly, this isn't my favorite shade on myself. It's a little bit peachier than I would typically wear, but I do think this blends out really easily. It's definitely not as hard to work with as the Rare Beauty blushes, so I do like that about this. And I'm just using this ColourPop blush to blend this out. I think this blush is really pretty, especially for summer. It's just not a shade that I typically reach for, and I put on a lot, so this is still quite pigmented, but it's so much easier to blend out than the Rare Beauty blushes, which I really like. So honestly, I prefer this formula over the Rare Beauty formula. This one also feels a little bit more gel-like, so it just feels like it's going to last a little bit longer. For powder, the cheapest powder, I actually have two that are the same price. The two powders in my collection that are the least expensive are this e.l.f. Prime and Stay Finishing Powder in the shade Light Medium, or the Essence All About Matte Powder. So I'm gonna go in with the e.l.f. powder. I've heard really good things about this powder, and honestly, I think they're all well deserved. Not a ton of people talk about this powder, but Julia Adams has said that it is a total dupe for the Pat McGrath under eye powder, which is very pricey, and this is $4. So I think this powder does a really good job of setting my makeup and blurring my makeup. I feel like nothing looks too crazy when I wear this. I actually really, really like it. I don't reach for it a ton though, just because I've been in like a loose powder phase lately. Still, a very good option. I feel like that just blanked everything out and made everything look so seamless. I am not going to go in with powder bronzer. However, if I were to go in with the powder bronzer, the bronzer that is the least expensive in my collection is the e.l.f. powder bronzer. This is the primer infused bronzer in the shade Forever Sun Kiss. You can see I have hit pan on this through my project pan. I am going to go in with a powder blush though, and the powder blush in my collection that I'm going to choose is the Essence the blush. This one is in the shade 40 Beloved. You guys know that my favorite blush of all time is the shade 20 Bespoke, which is a little bit more of a like darker red shade. I feel like this shade matches better with the blush that I put on underneath, so I'm gonna go in with this. I'm just gonna take this on this Sonia Kouchak blush brush and then just tap this on. I think this does such a good job of blurring, but also it's like $3, and I feel like you really can't go wrong with this blush. I think this formula is stunning. I think it blends out super easily. It looks really blurring, like I said, and it has a good amount of pigmentation to it. I feel like a lot of powder blushes are a little bit more on the less pigmented side in my collection, and I feel like this is just stunning. The one thing about this is that the packaging is pretty cheap, so I don't love that about this. However, it is a really good blush, not travel friendly, but for a $4 blush, I feel like you really can't go wrong. Like, I feel like that's stunning, and it blended out so easily, and it just looks so like pretty and like finished and sophisticated. For mascara, I don't have any drugstore mascaras per se, but the cheapest mascara I have in my collection is this one from Romand. This is the Hannah All Fix mascara in the volume curling brown shade, I believe, and I think this is a really, really pretty mascara. It's around $10 on Yes Style, so it is pretty affordable. It is a little bit more harder to get your hands on, but I do think these Romand mascaras are elite. They really are. They just do such a good job, and they stay all day, and they hold a curl, and I honestly just think they're one of the best formulas out there. I smudged a little bit, so I am going to wait for this to dry down. In the meantime, I'm going to do my brows. The cheapest brow option I have is this from e.l.f. This is the brow laminating gel, and I believe it's supposed to be a dupe for the Refi brow sculpt. I don't like this e.l.f. one as much as the Refi one. I feel like throughout the day, like as the day goes on, this actually leaves such a weird chunky white cast to my brows, which I don't usually see. So I'm a little bit confused as to why that is. I do think it has a good amount of hold to the brows, but I really don't like that it leaves that like chunky white cast. And maybe it's just because I was sweating a lot, which is a very, very good possibility, but the chunky white things are definitely not my favorite. I don't have a drugstore tinted brow gel, so I am just gonna go in with my Glossier Boy Brow just to give some color back to my brows. I feel like any of the Refi this type of products make my brows look too white and make me look weird. So just to add some tint back to them. And then for lips, I have a couple of different items here. For lip liner, the cheapest option is definitely the NYX lip pencil in the shade Soft Brown, one of my favorites. I'm just gonna line my lips. And then for a gloss, I'm gonna go in with the Glow Reviver Lip Oil. This is a very close alternative to the Dior lip oils. This has that big chunky doe foot. It has that slightly minty tingling feeling. I have mine in the shade Jam Session, which I think is a really pretty color for me. They are very similar, very comfortable on the lips. I feel like there are so many alternatives to the Dior lip oil now that you could really get away with any of them. So I think this is stunning. I love the shade. I would definitely consider picking up more, but I cannot buy any more lip oils. I have too many in my collection. And then for an eyeshadow topper, the most affordable / least expensive product I have in my collection is the ColourPop Super Shock Shadow. This is in the shade Ritz. This is stunning. You guys know that I love this, and I'm just gonna take my finger and just whoop whoop. And there she is. Absolutely stunning. So low effort. This is pretty dried out by now. This is like a very old product in my collection, but it's still stunning, and I still love the way it looks on my eyes, so I'm not getting rid of it yet. And this is everything. This is a full face of the most affordable products in my collection. Dang, my hair is wild right now. Maybe I leave the clips in. I don't like the way this looks. I will have to fix my hair in a little bit here. And this is a full face of the most affordable products in my collection. I think the drugstore has some really, really, really good hits. At heart, I am a high-end girly. I just love luxurious products. I feel like they make me feel fancier. I love the way they feel. I love the way they make me feel. But I'm a firm believer you do not need to spend that much money if it is not in your budget, if you don't want to spend that much money. There are so many good products at the drugstore. There are so many dupes out there and just alternatives in general where you don't need to be spending a ton of money. And if I have these products in my collection, these are really, really good products. These make me happy, and I know that I do a lot of declutters. I know that I try a lot of makeup, but these have lasted through all of those declutters because I like them so, so much. And if that is an indicator of anything, it should be an indicator that these are really, really good products. The only thing I will say that I don't think is like my absolute favorite is the e.l.f. dupe for the Revi Brow Sculpt. However, I did purchase this recently, and even though it's not my favorite, I still do like the hold that it has, and so I am still gonna use it. I'm still gonna like it. It's just not my all-time favorite. So I hope this was entertaining. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to like and subscribe if you aren't already. And I would love to know what your favorite drugstore product is, or your favorite affordable product if it's not necessarily drugstore. I think there are a lot of good options out there, and these, although they are the most affordable products, they are really good products, and I do reach for them a lot. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you guys in my next one. Bye guys.